But the market is more dangerous, bro, because it lets you keep showing up. It lets you keep putting your time into it. It lets you keep putting your money into it. And it lets you lose indefinitely. There is no cutting you from the game. There is no banishments. There is no none of that. It'll let you keep putting your card information in and taking money from you. It'll keep deceiving you and it will keep stealing from you. It's far more ruthless. It's far more dangerous. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy ZC Trades, man. And look, you see the title, man. I say this from experience. I've been trading for a long time. I've only been trading seriously for about half that amount of time. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, not only in trading, but in anything that I'm ambitious with, is not to tell people. The thing about telling people that you trade is that nobody is ever going to believe that you're going to do what you say when you trade. Most people don't believe in this. Most people think that nobody makes money in this and that this whole thing is one big scam. So immediately off of the bat, you're telling people, hey, watch this. Think about that. You're telling people, hey, watch this. I'm about to do what you think is impossible. Now, the whole time that you're on your journey, these people are going to be expecting you to perform. They don't know that there's going to be days where you don't trade. They don't know that you're going to have psychological problems that you're fighting. They don't know that, or rather, they're not going to want to hear that you had a losing day. They're not going to want to hear the elaborate explanations of your journey because you don't want them to assume anything about it because they don't know anything about it. You want to be able to explain to them the whole and complete story. You telling people this, if you're not overly confident in your model and have the numbers to back it, and you don't have all of your emotions and psychology in check, what it makes you feel like is you have to prove yourself. And what that looks like inside of the markets is, okay, today is not a trading day, but I'm going to press this button anyway because I told people that I'm a trader. This isn't my model, but I need to make money because I told so-and-so that I'm going to make money, that I'm going to make this amount of money. In fact, bro, basically by saying that you're a trader, you told those people, I'm going to make more money than you'll ever make. And to be honest with you, there are a small amount of people in your life that want to hear you say that. And that small amount of people is most likely your parents if you're lucky enough. Trading is a spiritual thing, and just because you have a psychological problem doesn't mean it's like a check engine light. It doesn't mean that you automatically know what your problem is. There are enough devils on each level. You don't have to have this extra one because you don't catch it immediately. You catch them over time. And when it starts to feel like it's taking longer than it should, you begin to feel two conflicting realities. The one where you told these people, hey, I'm going to make more money than you'll ever make and more money than I've ever made in my life, and you're confident about that, to one where you're doubting yourself and saying, oh shit, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And that's a real reality because every trader is humbled. What's one of the worst things that a man can feel? Or a woman can feel, a human can feel? Not all of us are social, but we are social creatures. I deem it disappointment and humiliation. Now, when you tell people that you're a trader and you create this audience for yourself, you turn a day where you would close and profit and say, I'm willing to take this amount of money, or I'm willing to take this small loss, to a day where you lose, or you overtrade and you lose a week's worth of bullets that you could have shot at the market, 2 weeks worth. It happens. Do you lose in your account? The market charges you real money for feelings. And in this case, they're feelings that only exist because you opened your mouth about it. Every time you go to execute the market, there will be an underlying question in your subconscious, and it's, will this trade make me money? How will this trade look? Those type of questions. Questions that you're asking for the wrong answer, because you begin to trade your reputation instead of your actual model, and trust in the process. It's the worst thing that you can do for your journey, because you're not trading for people to believe in you. You're trading for freedom. And it's funny because telling people that you're a trader oftentimes puts you in a construct that's more so like a prison, psychologically, whether you realize it or not. It's the opposite of freedom. You'll fight plenty battles and the market will humble you multiple times. This is an industry where, like 1% of people make money, 5%? I know it's not 10%. So you never want to put that pressure on yourself to perform. It's already difficult enough to perform as it is. And it's funny because most of the time when you tell people about trading, They're gonna ask you about trading when you're having a terrible day, bro. Take my word on this. And your reaction, you might sit there and fake and be like, oh, trading is good, trading is yada, yada, yada. Or you might tell them the truth. But there's gonna be something inside of you that's squirming when they ask you that and you're having a bad day because you said you were gonna do this. And this seems counterintuitive to you actually doing that to the person who doesn't trade. Trading is one of those things that nobody's gonna understand unless they're a trader. So why even bring it up to anybody? Most people think that it's like a linear type of progress, but skill in this only develops on a clock when everything is done right. The doubt and mixed emotions that you'll end up feeling as a result of telling somebody else is because you know that person has you on a timeline. You know after a certain amount of time, this person will no longer believe you. And it's funny because we as humans, we do this often where we'll tell each other what we're about to do. And from that, we get a hit of dopamine. We get to experience that because we're telling this person, oh yeah, I'm gonna start this business, I'm gonna start this, I'm gonna make this much trading, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get this many funded accounts, I'm gonna do this. And then that dopamine is gone. And if you notice, you starve off a little bit of the hunger that you get from not telling anybody that because you gave up the dopamine. You want this person to sit here and view you as a successful trader already or a trader already when they know nothing about trading. When it doesn't matter if they believe you because them believing in you has no upside to it at all. What are they going to say? They're going to ask you how your trading is going and not understand anything that you're saying. That may be all right for some people. If it is, a round of applause for you, bro. But imagine the loneliness. If you're new on your journey, imagine the loneliness. If you're not new on your journey, then you already know the loneliness. So that being said, I can understand why some people would like to have somebody to talk to about trading. If it's somebody that you trust, somebody that's not going to judge you and understand that this is going to be a difficult journey, by all means tell them. But the average individual, they don't care. They want to see you perform like a monkey. And this is one of the most difficult things that you can get your hands on because the odds of success are extremely low. Why tell anybody that you're going to make it to the league when everybody says that? So why tell those people that you're going to make it to the NBA when millions of kids play basketball, less get put on varsity, less make it D1, and even less make it to the league? Literally a sliver of those make it to the league. A sliver of people make it to the leagues and trading as well. But the market is more dangerous, bro, because it lets you keep showing up. It lets you keep putting your time into it. It lets you keep putting your money into it. And it lets you lose indefinitely. There is no cutting you from the game. There is no banishments. There is no none of that. It'll let you keep putting your card information in and taking money from you. It'll keep deceiving you and it will keep stealing from you. It's far more ruthless. It's far more dangerous. Now, with that said, to make it into that small percentage, it's better to not have an audience. To make it into that small percentage, you're gonna fight so many demons as it is. Because you have to think life is like a scale. There's yin, there's yang, there's chaos, there's order, there's dark, there's light. This is something that can change your life forever. This is something that allows you to make income without any type of income cap. It's that type of blessing. There's so many things that money stands in the way of in life, and this can remove all of them. So what type of pain and work do you think is gonna have to go into this? This is an industry where there are scammers every time you bat an eye. What do you think is going to have to go into this for you to out-weasel them and find real information that works for you? How much time do you think is going to have to put into this? You're going to have to put into this before you master your model. How long does it take for you to collect data? How long does it take for you to collect an appropriate amount of money in order to invest in yourself? There is so much that goes into this. And the psychological battles take the longest because, like I said, it's not always that you can immediately identify them. And just because you can identify them does not alleviate the problem. Psychological problems are neural pathways that are working against you, and it takes time to reroute those things. And with that being said, it's necessary that you do not put any things in your path that will remotely prohibit you from getting to where you're gonna go, that will remotely slow you down. You want to go there as fast as possible. And on top of that, bro, I'm sure plenty of you guys can agree with this. There's something about when you tell the world, the universe, your plans. It's like the devil hears it. I believe there's a saying that the devil only hears what you tell him. I worked at a warehouse, and when I was in that warehouse, I had just started trading ICT, and I felt like I could finally see the truth. even though I couldn't yet. I didn't know that at the time, but being young and naive and feeling like I had found a newfound superpower and that the world was at my hand, I began to boast about it. And it wasn't necessarily a boast, it was simply me saying, yo, I'm not gonna be here forever. It was me saying, in the next 2-3 years, I'm gonna be making this much money. But to these people, I was saying, you're gonna be stuck here forever. There's no way out for you. I'm gonna find a way out. Sucks for you. In reality, they could have viewed it as, this dude might have a way out. Let me ask him about it. Let me see about it, yada, yada, yada. But even the people that are like that, there's so much misinformation about trading out there, and it's very hard to believe. There was a time that I was minding my business, and I guess a guy felt offended by what I had said about me trading. Mind you, my self-belief was so high because I was listening to ICT's Twitter Spaces every single day at work. I was going home and studying ICT, waking up 5 hours later, studying ICT, hitting the gym, trading, studying ICT. That's all I did. My confidence was so high, and it bothered people. And this guy had told me that he's gonna be way further than me. He didn't say it in a way that was like, I inspired him. You get what I'm saying? He basically told me like, that's bullshit, like, that shit don't work, bro. It's all for nothing. And it lit me up, it put me in flames, bro. I was high. But in reality, I cannot be mad at him for feeling that way. I brought my belief to him. Is it wrong for him to tell me what he believes about it? And is it wrong to tell anyone that shit don't work when such a small amount of people have made it work? Most people that you're gonna tell that you made this work have never met anybody who has made this work. And that's something that you're gonna have to be understanding of. So do this in silence as best as you can. The market eventually humbles everybody, and if you have pride when that happens, which might be inevitable for you to have pride because of the amount of work that you've put in, it will be embarrassing. Now mind you, most of the time you can fail. Most people ain't gonna see you fail, but people won't forget. People remember how you make them feel. And if you're bragging in front of them about you making it out of a rat race that most people don't see any way of getting out of, or don't believe that they can get out of, they're gonna get a kick out of you being humble. They're gonna get a kick out of seeing you doubt yourself, seeing your confidence lessen, and seeing your pride diminish. People you're trying to impress can't help you anyways. And the people that can help you aren't really impressed by talk because they understand what this requires of them. Your goal is not to be believed, your goal is to be free. So don't shackle yourself to somebody else's timeline. Don't shackle your journey to somebody else's imagination, because your journey could lead you anywhere. And for all you know, as hard as this could be, you could be wrong. And most of y'all won't like to hear that, but that's the type of self-doubt that will come with you telling people. Just keep it on the low, study, take your time with it, be patient with yourself, and allow the work to prove itself. Trust me, it feels much better. And even when you do tell people about it, because I did, a lot of them don't care like you want them to. Family don't care. They don't want to hear you talk about it because they can't understand it. So with that being said, we're about to get into some back testing, and I'm going to cut out a lot, and I'm only going to leave the substance in there. The last few back testing videos have been an hour long, and it is a drone. Lots of space in between what I say. It's not entertaining enough to keep people's attention. That's fine. You're not the one back testing your model. But I want to prove that the model that I'm trading is the model that I'm back testing. I want them to align. And I also want to collect the data with you guys, because if the results are different, if they are vastly different, then we'll know that the issue is psychological. So with that being said, I'm gonna see y'all on the computer, and hopefully y'all learned something about this, especially if you trade QT. There's plenty to learn, especially if you trade market maker model. These two things coincide, they go together. I'm gonna see y'all on the laptop, man. All right, y'all, so we on the computer with it, and we're gonna start with the first week of February, actually. But I was just doing some research. Do you know only about 1% of day traders are consistently profitable over time? Nearly 97% fail to maintain profitability when trading regularly. This comes from the most cited study of Brazilian stock exchange analysts of over 19,000 traders. Now, that's a decent size sample amount. But not the craziest size, right? Around 40% of day traders quit within a month, and only 13 remain after 3 years, meaning about 87% exit. A University of California study found only 13% maintained consistent profitability over 6 months, and stretching the time frame, only 1% stayed consistently profitable over 5 or more years. 72% of day traders ended the year in a financial deficit. One prop firm operator watched trainees for 6 years and noted that even with capital, mentors, and practicing multiple hours daily, only about 4% managed to make a living from it. and 10 to 15% could make some money, but not enough to justify the time. Reports of day traders earning millions are outliers. The median profit is around $13,000, which suggests heavy survivorship bias in what gets reported. In other words, the loud success stories you see online are the 1%, not the norm. Bro, those stats are crazy. We're like people who are saying, I'm gonna learn how to fly, as if we got wings. That's how people are looking at us. And we do it anyway. Let's look at the daily on this. I'm not gonna be writing this into the Notion for the sake of time. It's already 9:45 and I've got 2 videos to edit tonight. What I wanna see is if we continue to use this as resistance. I wanna see if we can displace below this on ES. If we can do that, then this daily is the target. We are coming off of a weekly POI on NQ. However, ES is not coming off of a weekly POI. So I want to see if we'll still draw down here on both assets. But first I need to see us close or Sunday to open below this. We are, in terms of QT, bearish. We have this SMT up here. We had an activation cycle here, but as you can see, ES ran it out. But in doing so, we created another activation cycle. So until this SMT is ran out on ES, we'll be continuing to look for up before down, because in order for there to be a true expansion, there needs to be manipulation, and manipulation means buy side if we're bearish. So let's do it like this. That being said, let's jump into the day. Cool, we displaced below this, right? We opened up below it, so this should function as resistance as well. We likely won't be making it back up there though. Now, we only have 10 a.m. news on Monday and 8:30 news, unemployment rate, non-farm employment on Friday. So looking at this chart right here, we can see there are likely going to be days where we won't be touching this week. We don't want to constantly be putting our capital at risk. We want to wait for the high probability opportunities, and we'll know when we see one. Now, looking at the economic calendar and being able to say there are days that we probably won't be able to trade, won't be executing in the market, we won't be putting our capital at risk, and seeing the PD arrays reflect the same thing. This is exactly why this backtesting series is important, because this backtesting series running alongside the live streaming series of me trading live, it is to show you why we make the decisions that we make live, why I do the things that I do. Eventually, these videos will be worth a whole lot to people, because it will be free education from somebody who's made it into the 1%. And that is the whole point of this, right? So looking at this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to around 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're gonna do our London analysis the same way that we do it live. And I'm just gonna speak it to you guys. If we open higher, if we remain in this range, if we trade lower overnight, this is what we'll do. And these are the probabilities of it. And we'll go in and we'll test it out and we'll do our thing, right? So it's a little too late to do that with this day, but being that it's 5 a.m., we'll start with the 5 a.m. If New York opens higher inside of this new week opening gap, I'll be looking at this area here on NQ. All right. If New York opens higher, then what we'd like to see is S&T form inside of the new week opening gap so that we can begin to trade lower. However, as you can see, I have a POI annotated on NQ. We don't have that same POI on ES. Now, why are my colors all like this, right? Blue is a daily PD array. Purple is an hourly. A purple line is a PD array that is below the hourly. The blue line, that is also a new week opening gap or something like that. We can go ahead and get rid of this daily on NQ. On ES, we'll keep it there because the new week opening gap overlaps it. But because we don't have this hourly PD array, notice I need that hourly PD array. I'm not going to drop to a 5-minute and just find a random PD array. I need there to be a higher time frame inefficiency PD array, and then a lower time frame inefficiency PD array inside of this higher time frame one, so that we can define the most sensitive area inside of that higher time frame one. We make a higher time frame narrative and a lower time frame narrative fit inside of each other. That way we can pinpoint the most sensitive and highest probable turning points in price action. But because we don't have that on on ES, we won't be taking shorts even if we see SMT, even if shorts happen. But what needs to happen prior to that is longs. Now, the only way that I would be willing to take a long is if we somehow traded all the way back down into this POI down here, which is a weekly, has an hourly level inside of it and another level inside of it. We could sit here and use this small gap right here, but I'm not a big fan of it. So off rip, this is likely a no trading day. I'll drop to the I'll drop to the 5 minute and we can watch what happens, but I won't be looking for any type of execution. We can watch this gap here. You can honestly watch this one as well. On ES, you want to watch this small one right here. You should dip down into that POI, then drive higher. And if we don't form SMT, we'll likely consolidate for the rest of the day. And if we do form SMT, there's a possibility that we continue to consolidate because there's no refined PD array inside of this new week opening gap, or we could dump because there is a refined PD array inside of the gap that I have not annotated, but I don't believe that that will happen. Let's go ahead and watch. There it is. Let's see where we dipped inside of. We dipped inside this exact PD array. We also dipped inside this exact PD array. Now let's see if we can form SMT on these highs. And currently, it won't be possible until after 12 in the afternoon. Because currently it won't be possible until after 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And the reason being is because 12 o'clock is the open of a new 90-minute cycle. So boom, we do have SMT right here along these highs. It's hidden SMT. Hidden SMT is SMT with the bodies and not with the wicks. But see, it doesn't hold. Why does it not hold? Why does that downward move not happen even though the manipulation is put in? If there's SMT and it's in that direction and in the favor of the higher time frame narrative SMTs, then why isn't the true expansion happening? Because the PD arrays do not line up with the SMT. It's a fake SMT. This market is a professional deceiver. That's why you shouldn't tell people that you trade. Double back on that real quick, right? Boom. So no trade day. Easy money. We could have taken the long, didn't like the long. But notice how we called out the exact POI. Cool. Let's go ahead. I believe it's going to open us up at 5 a.m. again. Fine. And notice how we use the daily. Cool. All right, cool. So today, if we trade higher, I'll be looking at the purple annotated POI inside of this new week opening gap. Why that? This is another one of those 2022 models on the higher time frame that I had mentioned. I can look at this candle here, this sequence of candles, and see that there is that model inside of it. And that is what it is. Why? Because we displace up, create a swing low inside of it, and then displace below it. So on the lower time frames, there should be a very sensitive spot inside of it. I'm not even so much worried about this new day opening gap. Although we can pay mind to it, I'm not really worried about it. This gap right here is where I anticipate the longs to happen from, and this gap here, but I'm not really willing to long inside of a new week opening gap, although it has been pretty much rebalanced already. We can annotate it, pay attention to it, but I wouldn't be interested in the longs because the PD array that we're inside of is still being used as resistance, because we've never displaced. Well, actually, we opened above it on this time frame. Now, when it comes to new week opening gaps, it's not like an hourly where I can say the hourly opened above it, so we should be using it as support now. It's a new week opening gap. I have no data on whether we should use the hourly for it or the 4 hour or the daily on it. Because of that, I'm going to treat it as resistance. but we're just going to monitor both things, and this is why we data collect. Cool. So on ES, I want to see if we're going to use this right here, because this is another one of those levels. Let's jump up to the 15-minute, go to 9:15, and as you can see, this level is here already. I'm going to redefine it on a 5-minute. As you can see, it's right here. We have an unmitigated gap here. We could probably define it even more on the 1 minute. And the obvious piece of structure is this right here. So we'll just define it on the 5-minute. The 5-minute is enough to drop down to the 15-second. And on ES, we'll use the unmitigated gaps here because they overlap with this one, which creates a strong level. But this is also a silver bullet, whatever you want to call it. I need to come up with my own name for that PD array instead of describing it as all the names that it's possibly described as. So let's go ahead, drop, well, actually we'll do a 5-minute. Cool, we need to go higher. NQ has reached the level while ES has failed to reach the level yet. However, ES is already inside of a level that could possibly be used because we have not displaced above this yet. But I'm good off of that. I don't want to use that. Because ES is so far from this PD array, it's possible that NQ could trade above this. If NQ trades above this, then we'll be looking at this PD array here and possibly even this new week opening gap. But we're going to annotate this hourly right here. And it is possible that we don't form SMT even when we reach this, in which case NQ would gravitate towards up here and ES would gravitate towards up here. But mind you, this PD array is also borderline in a daily SIBI, daily POI that should function as resistance right now. So this will be interesting. SMT on the highs. If this hourly that we're inside of on ES is strong enough, then we should short now because both assets will be in the POI. But I don't believe this POI is strong enough. It's way higher probability to short if we drive up here. So that's what I'm waiting for. Uh-oh. What does it look like is happening here? Exactly what we have mentioned. So we're going to keep this on the chart because what can happen is 10 a.m. opens above it and now it will function as support. So it'll be good to keep an eye on that because it could be a possible area of resistance when it comes to us shorting this. Also for ES, I'm going to get rid of this new week opening gap just because it's no longer clean on ES. We're reaching into a daily now as well. I'm going to highlight this 5-minute SIBI, but also we have to keep in mind that there's this new week opening gap here, which is also a model because we leave this gap, rebalance it, and displace below it. So I'm highlighting the displacement, but we'll keep in mind that there's also a new week opening gap above that. Now when it comes to NQ, we need to bring this hourly SIBI some type of refinement. So we'll drop to the 1 minute because I can see that there is a gap on the 1 minute. I want to see one that is unmitigated though, which we do have right here. This is the area I want to pay attention to on NQ. This is the area I want to pay attention to on ES. So we'll see. NQ might not reach this level in time, in which case ES might try to just bump up against this and stall out for NQ to reach a more specific POI. But even so, if ES draws too high, we will no longer have the SMT that we have at this high right here. So once we reach this POI, as long as ES doesn't run out that high, we can immediately begin looking for shorts. Now, there's a possibility that NQ begins to short off of right here. Didn't mean to click this far. What I want to do now is I just want to double check my work. And I want to see if there's anything here that could cause NQ to draw lower. And I say no. We do have this gap here, but it's been mitigated pretty efficiently twice. I want to see us draw into this. So I'll continue to wait. If we short, then it leaves without us. We'll likely run this again. Usually when we see NQ poke at a PD array like this, we're gonna run it again. And I know that from experience backtesting, and that's the type of thing that you just can't replicate. You get that experience from putting in the work. And with that being said, we'll go into the day looking for our model. Win, lose, draw, whatever the case may be, we've done everything that well, actually, it's 11:40 in the morning. By now, we're not even looking at the charts. And also, it's important to look at the hourly because this hourly candle has not closed yet. It's 11:40 though. If we rejected this hard, we would still have to face this right here, and we'd likely only be able to take profits here, within this gap here at least, because these are strong PD arrays as well. But we are leaving a daily, and on top of that, I believe NQ has a daily here as well. We are inside of a daily on NQ. We'll take the short. It loses points for being this late in the day, but it is still very much possible. So let's go ahead and take it. The entry model that I use requires SMT to be on the highs and also SMT to be on the lows. What I want to see is, as you can see, we have SMT here. I want to see clear displacement below this low. It's important to have the SMTs because the SMT that's violated should be violated. The SMT that is in favor of the higher time frame hierarchy of SMTs should stay in place. So this is the entry, and like we said, we'll be targeting this here. And now this is about a 1 to 10. So let's go ahead and let it rock. $12 o'clock. New hourly came out. Let's check it out. Okay. This may be a force. But peep, NQ has this hourly gap. ES does not. So ES should easily trade into this lower POI, especially being that we're leaving a daily. And then the real fight begins. The real fight to see if we'll reach down into here will begin then. So let's go ahead, drop back down. I also want to show you guys, this would be the PD array that we'd be looking at on NQ. This one on ES. That's the specific POI, as I call it. We don't even need to see this happen on a 15-second. We can just pay attention to the 1 minute. Actually, I want to pay attention to the 5 minute. You'll never catch me watching a trade on the 1 minute, because I want to see what happens when we reach this POI. when we reach this POI inside of the POI. Now, NQ is inside of that hourly, and we are inside this 5 minute that is inside the hourly. ES is the same as well. It's not as clean on ES, but we have reached into a inefficient part of the BISI. So here I want to be careful. Here I want to be really careful. But I do see something that I like, which is this large SIBI here. This is heavy resistance. Peep how large this is. This is a 1 minute candle, yes, but the algorithm does not create accidents. This was meant and created to act as a barrier. You guys will see what I mean. And if it's disrespected, it's a clear sign for us to get out of the trade. Just like a 1 to 10. And watch when we reach up into that SIBI. Barrier. Solid. Fucking solid. Cool. So at what time did we enter that trade? We entered at 7:42. Cool. And mind y'all, I'm getting better and better at these entries and these exits as I go, because I'm putting in this work with y'all. Cool. Hit TP at 12:31. Not bad. Not bad. That's under an hour. And that's 10 hour. So no matter what, mind you, this is not Monday. It's actually Tuesday. No matter what, we're green for the next 2 weeks, just off of being patient. We got what we wanted off of this day, and we weren't greedy. And see what happened. We touched our POI. We were cautious of the things that we needed to be. And the trade reversed. That means we caught the perfect inception to terminus, point A to point B. Cool. Okay, cool. So today is a very similar situation to yesterday. I won't be looking for any longs. I'm only looking for shorts. This POI right here on NQ and ES is exactly what I need to see for me to be confident in shorts and in the POI that we will turn around from. Now, if we end up going above this before 9 a.m., I likely won't look for a trade. I'm not looking for a long today because we are using this new week opening gap as resistance, and ES is using that daily as resistance as well. Besides that, there's not really anywhere too long. So only looking for shorts, strict criteria today. And you notice how some days we have options, other days we don't. Today and yesterday, I only wanted to see shorts. Monday, I knew it's likely that we're not going to get anything, even though we did call out the longs that happened. Cool. Let's see what happens at 8 o'clock. And we're exactly in that POI. Now what I want to do is I want to drop to a 15 minute and see if I can refine that POI. Got this. On ES, we have this, which I love. I love to see a 15 minute that is unmitigated. But I want to drop to a 5 minute and see as well. And that's even better. And you know what's even better? The fact that we have this level here. And you see how these levels are everywhere? They are effective. I promise you that. That's what ICT was trying to tell us, trying to show us. We were so focused on using it as a market structure shift, not realizing that this is a PD array. BISI rebalance creates a breaker or mitigation block or order block, whatever you want to call it, and this plays through again. This is a silver bullet, but all that a silver bullet is a collection of PD arrays. Cool. Now let's go to NQ, and on NQ I like This, I like how this thin line, this BISI here, it's been tapped into, displaced through. But I don't like the disrespect that this one gave, right? So now I've ruled this out. And what I like to see is this BISI here, which is the same level. It aligns with the level that I don't like because of this here. It aligns with this, but it's a fresh level. We have tapped back into it with this candle. However, I'm still looking at it because if we drop to a 1 minute, then we'll likely still see that. And there is a unmitigated 1 minute here that goes right along with this PD array. So it works out perfectly. So let's go to a 15-minute chart, and remember that I need to see SMT before I short anything. Alright, so on ES, I don't really like how we disrespected this level in the 15-minute and closed above it. So what I'm doing is annotating this 15-minute gap, which is likely a 5-minute gap as well, and maybe even a more specific level. On a 1 minute, it may be even more specific. So let's just drop down to the 1 minute and check it out. This is how you find exact levels. This is how you really top tick and bottom tick, by optimizing the fractality of price. It can be argued that this is a 2020 model, 2022 mentorship model, but it can't be argued by me because I don't care. It's what I want to see. Cool. Problem is, if ES draws up there, where is NQ to draw to? The answer would have to be this one, which I began to mark up, but I decided not to mark up because of how low we were. But fucking fly in my face, or whatever the fuck. I think that was a mosquito. I'm interested in this right here. Beautiful. 5-minute unmitigated gap. Just what we want to see. Now this may be boring to some people, and it's not exactly fun to me, but shit gets ugly, bro. Not everything's gonna be pretty and glorious. What's important to do right here in this moment is identify the highs and lows that there could be SMTs with. Now this can get complicated sometimes because you have to keep in mind the highs as well as the bodies. So what is this high that we're about to run on NQ? This looks to be Asia session high, possibly, as it is Asia session high. Now Asia session high on NQ is much higher, which means that we're setting up to have a clear and distinct SMT. Even if NQ reaches the POI that we've annotated, we're setting up to have an SMT. The only thing that we would have to be aware of on these assets is that this could possibly be used as support if we close this 9 a.m. candle above it. Other than that, I'm not really worried about too much. Cool. So we want to see Asia high taken. Hasn't been taken yet, no SMT. As a matter of fact, we have to check this as well. We haven't seen the high taken, but do we have hidden SMT? And we do. We don't need to take the high because there's already a cracking correlation. So that being said, we can drop to the 15-second SMT on the high, SMT on the lows now, and now all I need to see is displacement below this low. I don't want to see a wick like this. Those don't count. They don't count because they don't work. That's backed up with data. So cool. You see that? Now imagine had I entered. Certain things you have to go in here and do the dirty work for. It will prevent you from making mistakes. Now this is okay. I don't really want to count it. It counts, but just because of this long wick and this SMT, I want to see this displaced through as well. Now this changes our risk to reward. Typically we're entering closer to the POI, but it doesn't matter. We want a sure shot. We want this to be a good shot. ES displaces below it. We have S&T with these candle lows as well. None again. None again. None again. Cool. S&T on the lows. S&T on the lows. Cool. This candle and this candle, as well as more S&T on the highs. And do you see why we don't count that? You see why discernment's important. See why I say clear displacement. These rules don't come from anywhere. There are a bunch of, the thing about a skill set is, all it is a pool of sub-skill sets. And it's the same thing with this. You go and you test your model and you add sub-rules to your model. Things that you just know from executing the model. Cool. SMT on the lows here. That SMT is gone. Cool. And to me, it looks like it doesn't want to respect this POI. That's what it looks like to me, which is fine. ES is now trading towards that POI above, as well as NQ. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually jump to a 5 minute. Since the market is no longer interested in this POI. But notice how it held up for a moment. And we'll wait for ES to arrive as well. That shit happened. That was fast. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to take this with us just tapping into the daily. I want to see a refined POI. So if we miss out on this trade, that's fine. And you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with having your own standards and saying, I need to see this because this is the highest probability. I've seen it and experienced it multiple times. And as you can see, there's a reason why. There is a reason why. So now we have ran Asia session high on NQ as well, and we need to make sure that there is no hidden SMT. Because just because we've ran Asia session high on both assets doesn't mean that there's no SMT. The bodies still have SMT. So let's drop back to a 1 minute. I want to see ES touch this. Until then, I don't care. I don't really care what happens. And I just want to double check. Okay. So this is something that we should have annotated. The actual 5 minute in comparison to the 1 minute. We did tap the POI. We 100% did. Let me see this real quick on NQ, because this candle is a 5 minute gap closing outside of that 5 minute specific POI that we have annotated. So I want to see if here there's something else that I missed, another POI that I had missed. Yes, and it's this unmitigated 1 minute gap right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this because I don't feel like drawing all new lines. But see, the market leaves clues, and it's just a matter of you catching them. Now, live, I would have been checking the time frames as time goes by, and we would not have missed this. So don't worry, we not cheating at all. If anybody had ever had anything to say about it. So cool. We have SMT on the highs, SMT on the lows. How, where, right here. And also ES ran this candle's low. So I want to see displacement below this, clear displacement. SMT on the highs again. Also have SMT with this candle low, double SMT on the lows. Now if double SMT gets ran and displaced through, I don't really like that. My discernment says wait for another displacement in violation of SMT. Here's one. This is a swing low. But that's not a swing low. If I drop to a 5 second, I'll show you it's a swing low. Swing low, indeed. Swing low, indeed. Cool. I need to see this violated. This candle right here is also SMT. Now, another one of those small rules is if ES creates equal lows like this, count it as SMT, because it does it all the time. Here, count it as SMT. It works. I've tested it. Cool. Now, something like this, we could wait until we drive back up into an area like this or something like that. Me personally, I just enter. And as soon as I have my entry, I want to be gauging where in the world are we going. This could be used as support. However, ES is in that daily again, and NQ is also treating this new week opening gap like resistance on the daily chart. How do I know that? Simply by looking at where the day opened. It didn't open above. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and keep that on the chart, but in reality, we're gonna look for a specific POI, meaning a lower time frame inefficiency inside of all of this noise. And if you ask me, it looks like this below is the target. So it's not a crazy R, but 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. It's almost 5R. We're just gonna call it 1 to 4R, and we'll watch it on the 5 minute. Because we need to pay attention to these POIs. Spanking. Cool. Cool. Now, the part where backtesting gets interesting is when you begin to ask, why did you lose? Now, I just want to double check something. Make sure that there was actually SMT. We lost because this next candle removed the SMT. When we didn't see this live, we're going to still count it as a full loss. But when we didn't see this, when we were on the 5 minute, this would have signaled to us it's time to close because there is no more manipulation. The manipulation is gone. We used what? What did we use as support? What did we bounce off of? We did use this hourly as support. And on NQ, I don't see anything. I don't see anything that would have been used as support. This small inefficiency inside of this new week opening gap, the only way that this would work with the logic that I use is if this new week opening gap was being used as support, which means that the daily is not truly what matters with these new week opening gaps. It's actually the hourly. And that right there is an answer to our question, the question that we had earlier in the stream where we didn't know which time frame to gauge whether we're using a new week opening gap or new day opening gap as support or resistance with. Now, I'm not going to deem this 100% true yet in this logic. I need to see it happen more often, but the next time I will be keeping that in mind. And it makes sense. Cool. So we count that as a loss. That's an L right there. And let's go ahead and move on to the next day. Okay, cool. So today Off the rip, this is a 5 a.m. candle. Today has the possibility to be glorious. Glorious. This is a POI that is inside of a new week opening gap, right? And we also have a very similar level on ES. This one right here. Now, if we can manage to reach into this while NQ is still respecting this by 8, 9 o'clock, then I'll be looking for SMT on these highs. Now, if we can't manage to do that, let me also check, where do we open up today? So we opened up above this daily on ES. So that daily is now being used as support. On NQ, we have this hourly right here. In reality, this is the level that would concern me if I were to go short. So this is the level that I like if I was looking to go long. And it is the same exact one on ES, but we also have to pay attention to this because of the distance differences of where we are in the range. So we could potentially be working with the small range today. Likely shorts won't go too far because of this daily that we have on ES, and if we do, we won't be participating. Makes sense because this daily opposes our direction. So if we drop down here, I'd be interested in looking at longs, but I'd only be longing until here. And so it might not even be worth it to long because of how small the range is. This is literally less than 80 points on NQ and even less on ES. So, but if we can drive here and trade lower into this daily, that is a range that I'm willing to work with. If we can drive here and trade lower into this, possibly into this, that is a range that I'm willing to work with. Okay, so it's possible that we can both reach into this POI at the same time on both of these assets. ES has not used this level yet. NQ has. However, I want to go deeper into NQ and see if there is a level that is interesting here. On the 5 minute, no sir. On the 1 minute, there is a level that definitely interests me. This one right here. Mind you, all of these lower time frame POIs look pretty much exactly the same. And we also have to keep in mind that we have these SIBIs here, and one of them at the top is unmitigated. So we'll keep that in mind. On ES, it's quite literally the same. We could sit here and annotate this right here, but it's already been used and rejected cleanly. So I don't really like it anymore. What I'm gonna do is highlight the whole SIBI. The whole SIBI hasn't been used yet. But if we jump up to a 5 minute, we can see this is also a 5 minute SIBI that's been unmitigated as well. So we'll pay attention to these levels. This level right here that I've annotated also has a SIBI that we can pay attention to, and I'll draw all of these out because there is a possibility that we could just run right through this first one. Cool. So that said, we'll jump up and run this thing to 930. And let's see what happens. I'm not willing to mess with this thing until we reach one of these POIs. Now, we could sit here and go for the longs. I didn't annotate specific POIs for longs, but we'll try to anticipate it. Let's just try to anticipate it, right? What's the hurt in trying? And easy. Easy. I can tell you the levels that are interesting. This level here, 5 minute, and this one as well. I'm not really interested in longs. So, looks like we're using this one. Beautiful longs. Right up to our POI, we stop and reverse. Why are we reversing? Unless we missed a specific POI, I still believe that we're going to go up there. because ES hasn't reached its specific POI. That's my reasoning behind it. Now ES is tapped into the daily, so we should begin a drive higher, the true drive higher. It's 11:15. We have chopped up until this point, and we may intend on chopping because tomorrow is the last day of the week, but also the first day within the last 3 days that there's been a news driver. Chop, chop, chop. Cool. Looks like we're not getting what we want today. But notice how at the end of the day, the very end of the day, we reach into that POI. We reach into that objective. Am I calling these things out by coincidence? It must be magic. Cool. Let's move on to the last day of the week. And even if we reached into those POIs in the PM session, I likely still wouldn't have traded because I have no data for the PM session. 6, 10, 2. Awesome. Same analysis pretty much because we're in the same area. The only thing that changes slightly is NQ's POI because we have this hourly here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to move this here for now. We are using this hourly as support, but these hourlies here are not being used as support. Mind you, we're also inside of a new week opening gap, which I also believe on NQ there is a daily PD array as well. Yeah, small daily gap here as well. So this is a very strong level when it comes to shorts. And I don't believe it's coincidence that we chopped yesterday. We engineered liquidity for the news driver. We had 8:30 news, so we need to pay attention because 8:30 could potentially form SMT on these highs and begin the move, or it could create SMT on the highs and not begin the move. And 9:30 would be the expansion, or it could do nothing at all. Would you look at that? If you peep, there's already SMT, hidden SMT. Actually, no, I lied. If you peep, this 8:30 candle put in hidden SMT with Asia session high. That's something that we're gonna have to pay attention to. Cool. Let's play these next two candles. I want to see if ES can reach up into these specific POIs. I don't want to see NQ travel too far away from where it's at right now. Now, ES also has this specific POI right here. It also has this large one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to annotate this one for us. If we begin to go above it, actually, what's more likely is we don't reach up there. So if we begin to go above this, then we'll know that we have another POI right above it. But I also need to keep this in mind. Now this may begin to be a lot of PD arrays for y'all, but you have to stay locked in. The hourlies are purple. This new week opening gap specifically is outlined in a blue. And the purple lines are the specific POIs. This box right here is another hourly. I'm gonna get rid of that for cleanliness' sake. Cool. Shout out to the 1 minute. Now I want to pay attention to, cool, this 1 minute candle is the open of 9:30, which is the open and close of a 15-minute candle And this is the candle body high on the 15 minutes. So we're still respecting it. We still have SMT. At this point, we just maybe want to see ES tap back into this POI right here, and then we want to see our entry model, and we're good to short. Immediate SMT. Mind you, I'm only looking for SMTs that form after the volatility injection. SMT on these lows. No SMT here now. Cool, that works. Now I need to monitor NQ to make sure no SMT forms. However, there is a possibility that we form SMT with this high because this is the previous 90-minute cycle high. So we still could form SMT even if NQ violates the hidden SMT with Asia session. Cool. SMT on the highs. However, NQ is now in uncharted territory. And ES is in the POI. So I need to double check on this. This is the next POI that I'll be interested in. Other than that, I'm not interested in anything. And what I'll do is I'll quickly annotate a specific POI. But there is a chance now that we won't be trading today. And that specific POI is easy. This level here. But we can keep in mind that at the very beginning of this POI, there's an unmitigated 5-minute gap. Now, we'll allow for NQ to reach up into there because ES still has a POI right here. Cool. Now remember, we have this, a 5-minute gap sitting right here at the very beginning of this POI. So we can immediately begin hunting for our move now because ES is also in the POI that we're interested in. Peep how we were inside of it here, but ES wasn't inside of it. Fake move, he would have got stopped out. The rules that I have are rules for a reason, bro. I promise you, the rules that I've developed through plenty of pain. Plenty of pain. I'm talking, I'm not paying attention. Cool though. Here we have SMT, this high and this high. 936, 942. We also have SMT with this low. This is the low that we'll use. Why this low? Because this low has this BISI inside of it, and I want to see if it will turn into the same levels that we've been using. We're not going to use this SMT now. I want to see that violated. Yeah, that don't count for me either. That don't count for me either. I need to see real movement. That don't count for me either. But peep out, ES created this equal low. That's an SMT. SMT on these lows, never mind. SMT on the highs, double SMT on the highs for real. And no SMT that I'll justify on the lows yet, besides the one that we already have annotated. This can be justified as an SMT. and we're using this level as support still. We've yet to displace through it. Once we displace through it, this will be a strong level, valiant level. It isn't even 950 yet. Still using it as support. ES still trading higher. 1 minute candle opened up above this area, but this is a 5 minute, so the next two candles are important. PayPal, this candle opened inside of this 5 minute level here. So this 5 minute level is still being used and treated as resistance. And if we would have closed above it, it would have been used and treated as support. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't be looking for the trade. It would just be something to be aware of. SMT on the lows here. That is technically an entry. I don't like it because of the wick. And I want to see this violated here because it's being used as support. I'm okay with waiting until we come down here. It won't be no 1 to 10, but it'll be a surefire shot that I'm confident in. ES is still rising. Let's see. 53, next 8 candles. 54, 1, 2, 3, 4. This candle opened above the 5 minute POI. I can't remember if this is a 5 minute or a 15 minute. I can't remember exactly. We have SMT on the lows here that is violated, and this is what I mean by clear displacement. I'm still going to wait because I see how we're using this level as support, but that is another entry. Mind you, your stop goes at the very high of the SMT, or the very high of whatever high was created after the volatility injection. I'm gonna wait. So you wouldn't have been stopped out if you would have took any of those other entries, but negative. Actually, we finally closed below, and this is also a SMT. So yeah, we'll enter here. Because now officially, this PD array should be used as resistance. Yeah, resistance. Now, where are we going to target? That's the next question. Cool. I don't want to see this candle close above this PD right here. And I want to see ES reject this level hard. And this daily is going to be strong support. So whatever the case may be, we close this trade when ES hits this daily. That daily is going to cause a bounce on both assets. We've traded above this here. So honestly, this gap right here, this purple POI, is going to act as resistance as well because we've traded above this. So we're going to have to be careful. Our target should realistically be somewhere inside of this wick and potentially the bottom of the wick, which would be news lows. And it's possible, but keep in mind that wicks are inefficiencies. But if we drop down to a lower time frame, we don't really see any inefficiencies here. We simply see this. This is going to be a strong level. Believe that. It's very possible that it is a strong level. We've traded all of inside of it though, so we could displace below it, but we have to keep in mind that we're ping-ponging between an hourly and an hourly. So they're equal strength. It's not like this is a daily. We can, if this was a daily, we could assume that there would be deeper penetration into this hourly. You niggas is weird, bro, because I know what y'all just thought of. I ain't gonna lie. But since it's an hourly, nah, none of that. So we're gonna go to a 5 minute, and I want to see what time this entry is. 9:55. And shit, what is this? This is like a 1 to. This is a 1 to 2. I'm not gonna lie. we're gonna have to target 114, 128. Is it 1 to 4? My brain is fried after a week of back testing and a busy day. So I need to see. I don't feel like doing the math. 1 to 4. Cool. But remember, we have to be careful because it looks like this 9 a.m. candle is going to open outside of this POI. So we need ES to drop as well. Tough level. Holy shit. Damn. What a quick banger, I ain't gonna lie. 1 to 4. So 9:55 to 10 a.m. 1:54. God, dude. Nah. Why did I say 1:54? Am I tripping right now? A nigga might be tired. I ain't gonna lie. 9:55, 10 a.m. What is 1:54? Yo, my brain fried right now. I've been working all day. 1:54, what does that mean? What the fuck? Yo, why I say 1:54? Nah, that's mad wild. 1:54. It gotta be a level or something. Yo. Is this dementia? Alright, I need to update the count key. $13R. $13R on the week, and that is Friday. So there were 2 days where we didn't take a trade. It wasn't worth it to, and today almost wasn't worth it to. I want to see what happens from here. Wow. So much more left on the table. Did ES have a daily POI here? It did indeed have a daily POI here, a very small one. Okay. Honestly, we'll likely trade. Yeah, we're probably maxed out here. 11 a.m. It's possible that we trade all the way down into these lows here. On NQ, it's possible, yeah, that we trade into this new week opening gap here. But had I had this daily annotated like this, I likely would have traded into this and called it a day. This looks very, very similar to Friday. This looks very, very similar to chill. This looks very, very, very similar to the last trading day where I would have smacked a 1 to 10. Look at these two. OD similar. You can pause the video, see it for yourself. But yeah. What the fuck? Why are we doing that? Let's tighten up, TV. And that is where we close the day. So this is a super green week. This would have passed any account with standard risk. It would have built any buffer. 13R on a week getting paid out is amazing, no matter what risk you use. It's a great week. But all of these things took countless weeks of back testing and countless weeks of paying attention live. And executing these things live is easy as long as you're okay with walking away and remaining picky when it comes to what you're looking for. I'm at a stage in my journey now where I can comfortably tell people that I trade. I don't. I've told maybe 1 or 2 people in the past 2 years, but it has not affected my trading at all. Because it's no longer emotionally based. I know my education on the charts is pretty much over with. And the only thing that'll happen is small refinements in the way that I view the charts and execute on it. And that this is only a matter of me being sharp enough live to do the same things that I'm doing in backtesting, which I see there no reason why I cannot do that. It is 100% possible. And I firmly believe that I am going to be in that 1%. Which is why I post these videos live and backtesting. Because I want there to be no discrepancies. I want there to be nobody able to say, yo, ZC Trades got exposed. Nobody will ever say that about me, ever in life. So with that being said, tomorrow we'll likely do another one of these, and we'll get halfway through February. And yeah, man, we're gonna perform the same live, provided similar opportunities. But notice how not every single day is a trading day. When I first started, that was something that I couldn't accept. So like I always say, tighten up. Go collect your data, do it in this manner, and also log it. I didn't do any logging in this video. This video is the log. But to ingrain certain things into your model, into your mind about your model, you must log them, especially because you will come across circumstances that you have not experienced before. And the last thing that you want is to come across those circumstances in the live market, because then you're forced with the decision to not trade for the day and miss out on a potential opportunity. But see, not everybody has the discipline to not trade. And so some people will take that risk and say, I have no data on what this is, but this stuff lines up, so I'm going to execute. And if you lose, you're going to be upset. But the truth is, you just executed on something that you have zero data on. I don't care if all of this lines up. If this one thing is off, slightly off, or suspicious, and you haven't seen it before, and you execute anyway, you just executed outside of your model, because you don't have data on that. And that's the way that I see things, and that's the way that's working out for me. So tighten up. Always look for inspiration in everything at all times. It is omnipresent, and take care of yourself. I'm gonna get with y'all boys on the next one, man. Peace.